Hello guys, Omni here. We got more show announcements to talk about today. Today, HBO Max went on a full-on rant on Twitter, releasing all the answers to a lot of questions that have been going around on social media about what they'll be carrying on their service. But there's only a couple of things that I wanted to talk about here today. Yesterday, we saw the announcement of the new upcoming Superman and Lois show heading to the CW using Tyler Hoechlin and Elizabeth Tulloch's iteration of the characters. But we got some more DC news today. As they announced on the streaming service for the HBO Max, it will, in fact, house pretty much, from what they said, sounds like every DC film known to man is going to be on the service, at least within the next year. They even said Joker will be on there, and the past 40 years of Superman and Batman will be on there. So that's really interesting as well. All the CW shows will be on the app for streaming, of course, in the same kind of way that Netflix hosts it. Once the season's concluded, it usually ends up on Netflix. They did say that once a new season has aired its run on television, it will be fully streamable on the app itself. So that'll still function. You won't be able to watch it live that way. If you're like me, you just watch it on CWTV.com. As long as you stay within 5 episodes of whatever the current episode is, you can just kind of keep up for free. That's what I do because I don't have cable. I just have all kinds of streaming services. At this point, you're just stocking up on them. But that is not even the gem that I wanted to talk about. They announced 2 new shows, as well as, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there. They also, we've known this, but they doubled down and confirmed again that Doom Patrol is getting a second season on HBO Max, which also will be releasing and broadcasting on DC Universe as well. So that'll be a split release for that. And they did say that they were looking into saving some potentially, or giving second chances to some other shows that may have been canceled. Maybe save Swamp Thing's catching up. I hope so, because I really liked that show, that first season, and I would love to see where it goes from there. I want to see that show get saved. But 2 new shows were confirmed to be under production by Greg Berlanti. 2 new DC shows that will be coming to HBO Max. Now, we know that he also produces DCU's Titans and Doom Patrol on DC Universe. A lot of people only think that he produces the CW shows, which he does. He produces every Arrowverse show on the CW. But 2 out of the 3 DC Universe shows he produces as well. People don't talk about that, but we got 2 more. We don't know where this is going to connect in. They've confirmed that there will be an anthology show called Strange Adventures, which people were at least speculating about. I don't know if it was said specifically that it would be about the Adam Strange character from DC Comics. Very well might be. I'm not sure what kind of adventures they would go on. Probably some Flash Gordon kind of stuff, I would imagine. But the big gem, the big announcement, we got Superman yesterday, but we got another huge heavy-hitting Justice Leaguer announced for their own TV series coming to HBO Max, and that is Green Lantern. We are getting a Green Lantern TV show produced for the streaming service itself. I really hope, especially, that this show gets some of that HBO Game of Thrones money, because this show, it won't be doable on the level of budget we've seen for the CW shows or that we've seen for the DC Universe shows. Not at all. They need to be forking out some cash, because that's going to be CGI for the suits, CGI for the ring constructs, CGI for the aliens, the worlds that they're going to be going to. To make that work, they better put in the money for it. Now, one thing they didn't say is whether or not either of these shows would be live action or animated. The fair assumption with all the releases, pretty much everything Greg Berlanti has worked on has primarily been live action, and I think it's fair to assume that they will be live action. At least the Green Lantern one, I would hope would be. If it's not, I'm not going to be that pained either. But one of the things that I was also kind of wondering, and I know some people might not like it, I've got 2 different ideas that might come out of why this is happening. why that show got chosen to be the next project for DCTV. And I think that too, because we know that DCEU, Warner Brothers at the DCU, for a long time had planned, at least on their timeline, a Green Lantern Corps film. And with the current state of the DCEU, maybe that scattering that out about, and the concept, the first Green Lantern movie wasn't all that well received. I didn't mind certain aspects of it, though there's a lot of things that they did do that I really didn't like that interpretation on. And Greg Berlanti did work on that as well. But them focusing on the way they pitched Green Lantern Corps was going to be a movie not about a singular lantern, not about Hal Jordan, not about Kyle Rayner, not about Guy Gardner or Jon Stewart, any of that, but it would focus on the greater core, like a kind of like a space cop kind of drama thing where you see how they police the universe and stuff like that. It wouldn't really focus on any one person. And while that seems good as a concept when you're not choosing what lantern you're going to be following, given I would love a show about Chip, my favorite Green Lantern is basically a giant squirrel. Love Chip. I would like to see them, like, the concept itself, I think, sounds like it would work better in a TV show format. So in the same way that on Disney Plus, Obi-Wan originally started off as a film concept, with the accessibility of the streaming service of Disney Plus, they decided, you know what, this story would be better told as a short 6-episode show format. Maybe the film idea for DCEU is being translated into a TV show because they can budget it better. They got some of that HBO money. They got some of that leftover Game of Thrones money. Maybe they want to actually like give some depth to the story, the characters, and build out a world, which is something HBO has at least been fairly good at. And with Greg Berlanti in there, that's where I'm not too sure where this is going to go, because it leads into my other idea. Greg Berlanti has talked about for some time and has been teasing about in the Arrowverse that the character John Diggle in Arrow, who is currently Spartan and whatnot in the show, has had some kind of connection to Jon Stewart. They've hinted at it before. People thought maybe John Diggle's not his real name, and they've been teasing that for a long time. And even David Ramsey, who plays John Diggle on the show, has had these conversations a long time with fans themselves, but with Greg before confirming whether or not they were going to move forward on him. And even Mark Guggenheim's talked about it as well, about what it would take to actually have him do it, because that is a character that is much more difficult to get onto a small screen without proper special effects and proper budgeting, because he would be a really expensive character to do. That's why they've really just kind of hinted at things for such a long time. Part of me was thinking maybe this access to HBO Max might be their way to levy that. And then that would also allow, because we know that HBO Max is also going to be the home of all of the Arrowverse shows. Maybe this will be their way, or Warner Brothers and HBO's way, of interconnecting all of DC media. Because we know Crisis on Infinite Earths is really stepping down that direction, incorporating all the TV shows that have ever been of DC at TV period back to the 60s into a singular continuity, with Tim Burton's Batman being introduced into the continuity of the Arrowverse as well. It very much is leaning into that concept. There's been rumors too that the Titans may appear in Crisis, though that's not been confirmed because Greg Berlanti also runs that. But in last year's Crisis, last season of Arrow, they even introduced the idea that John Diggle is the name of his original birth father's name in this timeline, and that his adopted father is General Stewart. And then even in last year's Elseworlds crossover, Flash from Earth 90, which is the 90s television series Flash, John Wesley Shipp's Flash shows up on our Earth, on Earth 1, and he sees Diggle, and he's like, "John, why don't you have your ring?" Huh? Again, just throwing it out there. And who knows, maybe we'll see Diggle with a Green Lantern ring in the crossover event. But that's one thing too. This, with Greg Berlanti having a tie to the actual movie Green Lantern, as well as being the core component and connecting tissue between all of the CW DC shows, as well as DCU, it's very likely that we either might be see a show completely developed from its own, in its own little unit, in its own little corner of the galaxy, maybe even the DCU timeline, continuity, multiverse, whatever you want to call it. Or this could be the John Diggle show, where he finally dons the name John Stewart and David Ramsey finally gets to play the John Stewart Green Lantern that fans of the CW has been hoping and praying for from the very beginning. So those are the two avenues that I think this might go down. I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. I'm really excited for the either way, as long as it gets the proper budget and the proper care, because that is one of those properties that can go really easily the wrong direction and come off just really cheap and really bad. And I love those characters. A lot of them I would, again, love to see John Stewart on screen. As far as the core Green Lanterns, like Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, John Stewart. John Stewart's probably my favorite Green Lantern. He's the one I grew up on with. Other than that, you can make an entire show about Chip. But that's it. I don't really have any else more to say. We're getting some amazing DCU news. The HBO Max app itself seems like, as much as the DCU is so geared towards DC Universe stuff, the comics themselves, HBO Max is really kind of running under the ground by having the entire DC film library under its bucket, under its umbrella, kind of where limiting the DC Universe app. I really do think that time is of the essence for that app. I really do think it's either going to be completely eradicated in the next year or so, or it's going to be integrated into HBO Max. I don't think it's going to be its own autonomous thing for forever. It's definitely, I think it's got some time that is ticking away. Its own little doomsday clock, if you will, counting down to when that's going to disappear. As much as I like reading the comics on there, they should just have a DC Universe section of HBO and just get rid of the DC Universe app. So it's all integrated into one package. You can just get it in there and have it. Unless, I don't know, it is a lot cheaper. Well, a lot cheaper. The HBO Max is $14.99. Was that what it said? $16.99. It's like in this $15-$16 range, where the DC Universe app is like $7, I think. I can't remember what I pay for it actually at this point. So it is a little bit of a price jump for less content. So I don't know. It's going to really be up to premise. I just don't think it's going to stand the test of time, especially with HBO and Warner Brothers as a whole entire unit moving so hard in this direction and just dropping it up, making it everything they announced today in general is just reasons to have it. They've got my money already. I'm getting it. When it comes out, diving in. It comes out May next year is when it's launching. So, yep, that's all we're talking about today. I want to know your thoughts about the Green Lantern show announcement. If you have any thoughts about the Strange Adventures series, let me know. Oh, there was also well, they didn't say if it was live action or animated either, but Elizabeth Banks is working on a DC, DC Heroes and Villains High, something like that. Basically, just all the DC characters, heroes, and villains in high school. I would assume that's going to be animated. Share your thoughts on all the stuff that was announced today in the comments below. We'll have that conversation after the video, but that is it for today, guys. Thank you all for stopping in. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't like it, let me know in the comments what you didn't like, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.